Today I wanted to finalize my thoughts on the Brewmaster monk, as well as give some incredibly solid advice that I wish I knew way sooner on. For those that may be seeing me for the first time, I recently did a series where I pugged my way up from 0 score and no gear all the way to 3k. Link to that playlist will also be at the end of the video, as well as in the description. So on to Brewmaster monk. Initially, Brewmaster monk felt like the worst tank to play, coming from playing every other tank all the way from Prop Warrior to Vengeance Demon Hunter. Brew just felt weak. Defensives that felt like they literally had no impact in actually keeping me alive, to stagger feeling like the most useless, badly explained way to take damage they could have ever made. Considering I also never had to clear stagger while leveling, but that's besides the point. On to the good. After this journey, Brewmaster honestly might be the most enjoyable tank to actively play, in my opinion, as I was quite literally learning new things about how I should or should try to be playing it every single session that I sat down to play. From initially trying to figure out the purpose of the defensives with the class, given that they felt so much weaker than any other tanks. For example, shield block or fiery brand, or even a simple death strike. To realizing that Nyazu is literally the defensive and offensive cooldown on crack that sets your stagger into overdrive. Brewmaster genuinely was an extremely fun time, and I'm glad I chose this class to properly sit down and learn to play. Onto the things that I absolutely wish I knew about Brewmaster going into this journey. Of course, the previously mentioned things, defensives being incredibly useful despite their initial weaknesses, as well as the immense power from Nyazu being active. While he's out, basically 40% of your incoming stagger damage will be taken and given to the Ox instead of you. To get him active, you either use Invoke Nyazu the Black Ox, or Weapons of Order with the talent Call to Arms at the bottom of the tree. The importance of Blackout Combo. Holy, I wish someone explained this. With the talent Blackout Combo, every time you press Blackout Kick, it will empower the next time you press Keg Smash, Tiger Palm, Purifying Brew, or Celestial Brew, them being the baseline brews, of course. These combinations are all used in your rotation constantly, depending on what you need them to do, with arguably the most important two, in my opinion, being Purifying Brew and Keg Smash. Purifying Brew with Blackout Combo stops all the damage you take from stagger for the next 3 seconds. Keep in mind, this is primarily how Brewmaster takes damage. That is ludicrously powerful, as it pretty much stops the damage you take for the next 3 seconds, giving you time to think, your healer time to catch up, or for you to fix your mistakes. For example, me forgetting to use a cooldown and almost dying for it, which happened pretty much every single video. And for Keg Smash, reducing the cooldown on all of your brews by an additional 2 seconds, including Purifying Brew, Fortifying Brew, which is also another really strong defensive, Celestial Brew, and Black Ox Brew. Reduces all of them by even more than it normally would. A brief mention is also worth giving to Celestial Infusion, being quite the confusing ability. Essentially, when you purify stagger damage with Purifying Brew, it will give between 1 to 3 stacks of Purified Chi. And this Purified Chi is actually what's used to make your Celestial Infusion dramatically stronger, by up to 200% stronger, in fact. Which, to reach this 200%, you need 6 stacks of Purified Chi. Celestial Infusion is in essence a mini version of your Invoke Nyazu, absorbing 30% of your incoming damage into the shield and making it disappear, much like with Nyazu. What determines how many stacks you get of Purified Chi is based on your stagger amount cleared. If you have a full bar of stagger and you clear it, it will give you 3 stacks immediately. If you clear it with very minimal stagger, it will give you 1, and with half a bar of stagger, it'll give you 2 stacks. Try to always be at 6 stacks when you cast Celestial Infusion, as the shield is immensely powerful. You can also use this as a mini defensive for tank busters if you combo it with Blackout Kick and Celestial Infusion, as it will give you 3 additional stacks on top of what you already have, or if you had none, it will act as if you have 3 stacks. So a 100% stronger shield than it would have been before. With those really important mechanics mentioned and roughly explained, I'll now go on to how I ended up playing and will continue to be playing Brewmaster Monk until it gets changed or I figure out something new again, which is very likely. While you have your Invoke Nyazu out from either the actual Invoke spell or Weapons of Order, I'll always use a purifying brew before I use blackout kick. This does two things. For one, Yazoo will cast the stomp, dealing some really solid damage, and set you up to not accidentally use blackout kick with purifying brew. As a heavy majority of the time, it's so overkill to have the 0 stagger damage active with the natural reduction from Yazoo. So after I use that blackout kick, I'll keg smash, which then reduces the cooldown of purifying brew, allowing me to almost indefinitely cycle between the purifying and the keg smash. Once I run out of Yazoo being active, I like to cycle in the other defensive cooldowns I have while swapping the rotation. So instead I use blackout kick with purifying combo until Weapons of Order or Invoke Yazoo comes back. This will make it so there's a nice steady stream of damage that you can actively mitigate while waiting for either of those cooldowns to actually come back. As briefly mentioned, Celestial Infusion can be used anytime during either of those windows to further decrease your damage taken as it comes back fairly regularly, because you're using keg smashes and tiger palms to reduce the cooldown anyway. You can also use blackout kick with Celestial Infusion on tank busters if you are concerned you might die to the tank buster, or if you have no other cooldowns. It can heavily help out. Hopefully that was relatively easy to understand. If not, I've also got a full playlist of me learning how to actually play Brewmaster while pugging up to 3000 score that should be on screen now, as well as down in the description. My next pugging up character is ready and waiting, and I hope you're all looking forward to it as much as I am. Thank you all so much for watching. Consider leaving a like, and if you haven't already, subscribe, as there's going to be plenty of content to come based around World of Warcraft at the moment. Thanks for watching.